Right, so according to the question, it says three numbers are in the ratio 1:3:10. Okay? There are three numbers, their ratio is 1:3:10. If 20 is subtracted from the largest number, right, the numbers form a geometric sequence. Determine the three numbers. Okay? Now the question will be, since here we don't have the actual numbers but we are given ratios, it means you might have to introduce an unknown variable. Okay? Remember, a ratio comes from specific values. Am I right? A ratio comes from what? Specific values. And when you have a ratio, like for example, I'll just take you back. So this is, the concept of ratio is actually grade 9. Grade 9, grade 8. Ratio. It's grade 9, grade 8. You are in matric now. So if I give you, say, 20 is to 40, like this. If I ask you to determine the ratio, what would be the answer? You do what? 1:2. Okay? So from this ratio here, what it means is the first term, okay, is going to be the smallest. Am I right? Then the one which is related to that 3, then is going to be the second term. Obviously, the one which is related to that 10 will be the what? The third term. So I can say, since, okay, I'm sure you are aware that here, for you to get this ratio, you divide it by the highest common factor, isn't it? To get the ratio, you divide it by what? By the highest common factor. Am I right? Yes. And the highest common factor there is a 20. That's how you end up having 1:2. So what that means is we can get the original three numbers by using the concept of the common factor, which we can call x. So I can multiply this one here by x. And then I'll multiply the 3 by x. I'll also multiply the 10 by x. By doing that, I'll get to the original three numbers. But at this stage, I don't know what x is. Okay? Yes? Why what? I don't understand why you multiply it. Okay. Look here. If you go back to the concept of ratio, right? If I give you 20:40, how do you simplify this to a ratio which has got the simplest numbers or the smallest numbers as possible? Divided by 20. Now that 20, how is it related to this 20 and that 20 and this 40? Are you serious? How is the 20 that you divide this 20 with to get 1 and this 40 to divide by 20 to get this 2? How is it related to this 20 and that 40? Let's go back to the basic concept. Tyra, why do we have to divide by 20? Yes, but then what is 20 in relation to the original 20 and the 40? Okay, do you understand what I'm saying? When you divide this 20 by 20, why do you have to divide by 20? Why you can't divide by 10? She needs to tell us. Why you can't divide by 5? Why you can't divide by 2? No. Because 20 is the highest common factor of 20 and 40. If you want to reduce a ratio to its simplest terms, you have to identify the highest common factor of the two given numbers. So the highest common factor of this 20 and that 40 is 20. So we divide the 20 by 20, we get 1. 40 by 20, we get a 2. Okay? So for this question here, the 20 that we divided this 20 with and that 40 with, we'll call it x. It's an unknown highest common factor. You can give it another letter you want. But I decided to call it what? X. Okay, sorry, Tina. Are you following? Are you understanding what I'm saying?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
So, what is the X?
It's the highest common factor.
Yeah, so in this case, it would be the highest common factor of what?
1, 3, and 10.
It will be the highest common factor of the original numbers, where the ratio 1:3 is to 10 originated from. Okay? So we multiply each of the numbers in the ratio by x, because the x is the highest common factor. Okay? You are in metric. If you have got a brother, sister, cousin, whoever, they are doing grade 9, if they ask you about ratio, you should be able to explain it to them, probably more than their teacher. Okay? And they will be proud of you. Alright, so from here, we have got our 3 terms, right? Now, this concept of ratio, it will come back again later when you do geometry next term. It will come back again. I will remind you. Okay, appreciate? I will remind you. Alright, so now that we have got those 3 numbers, right? The next thing now, the question says, if 20 is subtracted from the largest number, the numbers form a geometric sequence. So, which one among these 3 is the largest? 10x. So what that means is, if we subtract, right, 20 from the largest, we'll end up creating a geometric sequence. Okay? And that geometric sequence, obviously, this will be T1, that's T2, this is T3. So this will be T1, that's T2, and that's T3. So, common ratio, we know that, okay, we can write in general term as Tn over Tn minus 1. So here, we can end up having T2 over T1 is equal to T3 over T2. Are you following? Once you get here, the rest is just algebra. Okay? It's algebra. Okay, so let me go to the next page. So we have 3x over x is equal to 10x minus 20 over 3x. Right? Well, allow me to just cross multiply there. But I can also just cancel out the x's there. So I can write this as 3 over 1 is equal to 10x minus 20 over 3x. Then you cross multiply. Okay? Cross multiply, you end up getting 20 equal to x. Okay? But the question is asking for those 3 terms. So the 3 terms are going to be T1 will be 20, T2 will be 20 times 3, which is what? 60. T3 is going to be 10 times 20 minus 20. Okay, so that will be 180.
So, but in our geometric, it doesn't ask for the terms in the geometric sequence.
Let's see. Okay. Alright. Okay, in this case, it's not the terms in the geometric series. So let's just let's go back here and fix that. I thought it was there. Didn't read that part. But anyway, let's fix it. It's a very simple thing. Alright, the question is not asking for, say, determine the three numbers. Alright, so we'll go back here. Because we found x, so we'll go back there. So the three numbers are going to be 20, that's the first one. The second one is going to be 3 times 20, which will be what? 60. The third one is going to be 10 times 20, which will be what? 200. Okay? So these are the three numbers before the last one is, before you subtract 20 from the last one. But if you subtract 20 from this, you create the geometric sequence. Are you following that? As they are, if you divide 60 by 20, you get a 3. 200 divided by 60, you won't get a 3. But if you subtract 20 from the 200, you end up getting a common ratio, which is also what? A 3. Are you following that? Yeah, so, right, so this type of a question requires you to think. You have to read the question and understand what the question wants. Also be aware that at this stage, you are expected to be familiar with concepts from previous grades. In this case here, it will be ratio. Unfortunately, ratio is not taught in grade 10 and 11. It's grade 8 and grade 9. Yeah. Right, is there anybody who has got a question? Is there anybody who has got a question? Huh? Are you sure you don't have a question? Jeanette?
So sir, if they want to give it to us as x, 3x, and 10x minus 20, then you divide it by the highest common factor to get it to the x, 3x, and 10x.
Okay. To get this ratio here, remember, those three terms, they don't form, the original three terms, they don't form a geometric sequence. The geometric sequence is only created if you subtract 20 from the largest of the three. Only if you subtract 20 from the largest of the three, then you create the what? The geometric sequence. So the question is not asking for the three terms in the geometric sequence, but it is asking for the three original numbers where that ratio came from. Okay, can I carry on? And then the next one, again, it requires you to think and apply. Okay? It's more like it's a problem-solving question. Unfortunately, even if you go for tuitions, 1,000 tuitions, they won't work because this will require you to think and apply. You can waste money thinking that maybe you'll get a solution there. You have to think and apply yourself. Okay? So some of you didn't do the question, but I'm not sure how you interpreted the question. So the question says, in a certain geometric series, the constant ratio is 3. So R is 3. The first term, A, it's a 1. Right? Then it says Tn is equal to T. Now, what is this to you? What is Tn? Is the what? Is the general term. So what's the formula for the general term? So Tn is equal to A times R to the power of what? N minus 1. Okay? So what this means is we can substitute that Tn by what? By T. Then, okay, let me substitute the values of A and R. So A is 1 and R is 3. Okay? Then if I simplify this, I'll get 3 to the power of n minus 1. Okay. Then it says express Sn in terms of Tn. What's the formula for Sn? Okay, you can use A times R to the power of n minus 1 over R minus 1.
Oh, I said Sn is equal to Tn plus Sn minus 1.
Okay? Now, let's substitute the values of A and R. So this will be Sn equal to 1 times 3 to the power of n minus 1 over 3 minus 1. So if you simplify this, you end up getting 3 to the power of n minus 1 over 2. Alright? But the question says you need to express Sn in terms of t. What this means, you need to eliminate this 3 to the power of what? Of n in that equation. So if you want to, we can maybe call this one equation 1 and then you can call that one equation 2. So in equation 2, we don't want to see n in equation 2. Okay? Therefore, we have to make 3 to the power of n the subject here. And then substitute the result there. Okay? Okay, I'll give you 1 minute. You do it. Make 3 to the power of n the subject and substitute the answer into equation 2. I'll give you 1 minute. Make 3 to the power of n the subject in the first equation. Make me laugh. If you can't do this question here, the match control test, you are in serious trouble. If you can't make 3 to the power of n here, okay, your heartbeat is going to increase on the 7th of March. I'm serious. If you are not strong, you can have a heart attack. I don't want to. This sounds funny, but there are things at this stage that you should know, just like that. Okay? So let's go back to grade 10 and 11. So this will be t equal to 3 to the power of n times 3 to the power of minus 1. Can you look, please? Remember, you had an opportunity until last night. You went to bed, you didn't do it. Right? Then you make 3 to the power of n the subject. You divide both sides by 3 to the power of n. So this means 3 to the power of n. 3 to the power of n would equal to t divided by 3 to the power of minus 1. Okay? Then from here, obviously, 3 to the power of minus 1, that one there, if it's in the denominator like this, okay, this is the same as 1 over 3. So it's more like we are dividing t by a third. So the answer, sorry, you two, can you pay attention, please? So this will be 3 to the power of n equal to 3t. Okay? Then from there you just substitute there. So this means Sn is equal to 3t minus 1 all over 2. So you're supposed to get that as your answer. Okay, those of you who just came, did you do that question? And did you get the answer?
No, I was asking where to get to the formula from, and then I realized it's TN.
All right. Is there anybody who has got a question there?